Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 7 of the Almost Essential podcast. We're going to be discussing Valve's new Switch competitor type thing box. I'm not sure what to exactly call it. And then we're going to be
It's the
talking
Steam
about.
Deck.
Yeah. I don't like the name Steam Deck. I'll get
Isn't
into
that
that.
the fucking worst name ever?
Because it sounds like Stream Deck, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Every time I
like
do a double take, but here's a deck.
if it
Put it in your
does
hands.
well, I actually feel bad for Elgato because it could eventually pull like a switcheroo where everyone talks with the Steam Deck instead of the Stream
If you
Deck.
Google Stream Deck instead.
It actually, so fun fact is that the first 3 hours at least that they announced it, if you Googled Steam Deck, Google automatically didn't just do like
Corrected
did
it.
you
Yeah,
mean such and
I did
such?
that.
It meant you probably meant such and such. Here are results for Stream Deck.
Yeah, that's so funny.
This seems normal. This is going to be great, huh? Okay, and then next up we have Netflix gaming. Cloud gaming is still coming. We don't know how to stop it. It apparently is still coming.
What
Somebody's
is
going to use
cloud
it.
gaming?
I don't know. It doesn't work. So
Apparently,
Yet?
no. Apparently, Nvidia's is it Nvidia? Or Xbox Cloud Gaming. One of the two of them, Linus was saying, is decent now. If you're doing single player games, it's like not the worst in the world. It's just imagine it just playing with like 7 extra milliseconds ping or something. It's not that bad.
for multiplayer,
But the other
I
ones
don't-
are all shit. Yeah, multiplayer it's not tenable,
It's
but for
anyway. And then what else? What else we got? There's 3 things, and I already forgot one of them.
then all of Elgato shit.
Oh yes, Elgato's great big
Everything,
list of
yeah.
nine announcements apparently are coming. But first
Yeah.
of all, we gotta check in with our guests here. Sal, you'll notice, is in a brand new camera angle, and it was really hard to actually capture this because his setup is actually so nice. It's like I have to crop this, but look at this man's setup. He's straight chilling over here watching us on
Yeah, man.
How big is the screen you're watching us on?
65 inch. Yeah, it's pretty sick,
Okay.
actually. I
It was
I
really
felt
nice,
like I
dude.
had to
Little
do it. Like it
jealous.
took me a little bit of time to get it together, but I was like, I built this thing, and I use it for nothing, so I figured I might as well do it for this.
I
I
dug
gotta
this hole
move
in the ground. Damn it! I'm gonna use it how I want.
Yeah, I gotta put the camera at a better angle, but it's okay. We'll work it out for next week. We'll iron out all the kinks.
As long as I can censor out the feet there, we're under the
Yeah,
line.
I got
we're
the
good.
feet tucked away. Can't see 'em.
Hey.
Yeah.
And we have Ravi, Fear Dragon, Parikh joining us. Actually, you are our first guest on the show.
I know, which is ironic because I'm pretty sure last week I was like, hey, I think that this person would be a good guest for your show. And
Yeah.
then you were like, oh, yeah, and by the way, I want to talk to you about coming on the show. I'm like, oh, okay. I was recommending someone else, but all right.
Well, actually, we had both of you on a list a long time ago before we actually did the first episode. But the other person we wanted to do an episode with, but he was busy. But we'll get him at some point later. Let's see. Where do you guys want to start? I think the Elgato stuff is going to take the longest. So let's go
Yeah.
with maybe.
I don't know
Might be
anything
good
about
to
the
start
Netflix
with the
shit.
XLR
so,
to
like,
Ethernet
that's-
cable.
Oh yeah. So pre-show.
Yeah, we can talk about that again.
Sorry.
Apparently, guys, did you know that there's a thing? So I'll tell
Yeah.
the story.
Okay,
You're at a
yeah.
wedding.
So
How did you
All
discover
right.
this device existed?
So
Oh,
when
what's the
so
device
when I
to
was
start with?
basically like when we were planning our wedding, we had to go around to all the different vendors and the caterer. We figured out it was the food people were the caterers. And when we went to the DJ, we walked in the door and like I looked around and it was just like wall to wall shit I might actually want in the studio. And so I was like pointing out that to him, I was like, okay, so how does that work? And like, how does this work? And like, what is that over there? And then he's like, and then he brings me to like, I noticed he has like a big spools of Ethernet cable. And I was like, why do you have this? And he's like, oh, because we use these dongles and he gives me these XLR to Ethernet dongles. And he's like, so instead of buying these extremely expensive XLR cables, he just literally rolls himself an Ethernet cable long enough, crimps both ends, and he just uses these XLR to Ethernet adapter instead. And he's like, this saves me literally thousands of dollars a year because XLR cables are that expensive and Ethernet is that cheap. and my mind was just fucking blown.
Just like Ravi's and I were when you were telling us this advice. You just like, how have we never heard about this before? Like,
I was like, you could literally have a DAC in like the basement of a house and just use the Ethernet in the wall to like send it to a mic upstairs or something like that. Like, it's just completely blew my mind.
I have so many questions. How's electrical interference caused with this?
Like how's EMF? Like how's signal degradation?
Latency?
Yeah. So I don't know about any of that. I might order them just to fucking try it out because I think it'd be really cool to give that a shot. But it's like you could theoretically run as long because it signal boosts, right? It's like you probably has 48 volt, and we'll just push it as long as you want. Hundreds of feet, probably.
If you put it into a switch, like a network switch,
that's like, what the fuck?
Did you just create multiple speeds of that microphone?
Is it a network accessible device? Can you?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
That's a whole
I
other...
so want to find out about this now.
Yeah.
If you don't order one,
They're
I'm
not
going
that
to.
Expensive,
Damn.
Too. They were like $20.
$20. Okay. I'm
hold
ordering
on. So
one.
like I literally Googled it, and then you've got right here. You've got this C-Gear one. It's an XLR 5-pin RJ45 adapter cable, $16.99.
If instead of plugging a modem into the Ethernet port that is shared amongst your household, you plug in one of these with a microphone, are you sharing your microphone with the entire house?
I don't know. these are excellent questions.
I think we just solved the streamer house problem. Like you can
but that's what I was thinking too. Like, yeah, you could easily mic up an entire house this way.
Yeah.
Without any problems. Like, it'd just be like, what was even the issue? Like, in the first place, I don't know. That combined with, because I learned this because my dad's church wanted to do some streaming shit, and they wanted to put a camera like really, really far away. And the way that they did that was a capture card. They sell Ethernet, IP capture cards now for like $300.
Mm-hmm.
You have a capture card that just literally plugs into your Ethernet, and that feed is available on the network. That IP is just there, which is like, obviously NDI is a really good solution, but you don't want to just build a computer, put it there, and use NDI. Like I think NDI is supported on it too. It's really sick. But $300, it does like full 1080p 60 capture, and it actually will downscale for you as well. So you can like take if the network connection is kind of shit, you can take the 720/30 version too. It's like there's a lot of really cool crap now. So you could literally, in each room of a house, you could have an Ethernet based XLR mic that captures the room, and a camera connected to an Ethernet based IP capture card. And then you wouldn't need cables running anywhere aside from the Ethernet cables. Like, just network cables.
I know. And those are like way easier to.
Yeah. I thought about this. Like, I thought about this a lot because I was like, okay, so when we do the marathon, if I just get two of these Ethernet capture cards, I could literally not move any of my streaming shit. Everything could just stay here. And I could just run, I could just have the cameras up there and be on the same network, and then boom, just stream from down here.
Damn.
So I just don't move anything. I just take the cameras and go up.
This could actually, I could see a lot of use cases for this, even at events and stuff. Like, imagine that you had, okay, here's a classic example. Right now, if you want to observe a game that's happening in a player pit or something, or you want to jump into that shit, you have to basically have this dedicated computers that jump in as an observer or something. Imagine if you could just install one of these capture cards, hook up all these things to basically a network that then the broadcast feed can be we're going to pull up Maru's player cam or player feed or whatever live happening in the player pit right now. We can literally jump to any one of the PCs at any given moment.
I think the only downside is going to be network congestion. So this, if you it's okay for one or two, and it's okay if I'm doing a broadcast that's got nothing to do with internal congestion. But when you have 15 capture cards all running at like 60 megs a second or like 15 megs a second, you're gonna stack up a lot. Like you're gonna
The
be
10
pushing
gig
that
network switch I bought's making more and more sense.
Also,
yeah, like a 10 gig network switch, but even then, you'll still incur latency penalties for the players themselves when they play.
I think you can put I think
You could
most
stagger it,
computers
though.
and stuff have multiple Ethernet ports and stuff, right? You can literally just have a dedicated separate
Oh,
network.
you could tell
for
the
this.
second network, even if you don't have a second network
Yeah,
card
you
on
can
your
have
motherboard,
you can have an
throw one
internal
in.
secondary network. That's true.
Yeah.
That where just the cameras are on it, and that's actually probably fine. Actually, it would be fine. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work. It's
Okay,
all
so
if
we're
it
all
comes back
buying
to the
XLR
same.
XLR to Ethernet cable now. We're all buying one.
I think I might buy one. I might buy one too, just to fuck around.
It's $20.
Like super.
I'm gonna gain so much knowledge from a $20 investment. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can, if there's any problems, you can figure out if the more expensive ones solve them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can read reviews and shit and figure out if there's like actually a better way to do it with more expensive shit.
Okay, so we'll come back probably with a review of that at some point in the future. That's a side tangent, but let's see.
Okay, so what are we starting with?
Let's start
Steam?
with
Elgato.
Let's start with the Steam one because I think Elgato's got a lot, and we'll just run through some of that stuff. I actually was Google just now. I was running through hey, let me pull up a couple links to show this off, and one of the first links that comes up is Verge saying, "Hey, Stream Deck and Valve enhancing a Steam Deck on the same day," which is kind of funny. This is a picture of the device. This is the starting at supposedly 400, and I know you're already probably squinting at the picture, so we've got some schematics pulled up here. It's basically kind of like this. We got two thumbprints. We do have USB-C. Want to point that out to start with before we go too much farther.
You fucking hope so.
Oh my These days, God. I expect everything to have USB-C. What do you fucking know? It doesn't.
Just wait for Apple's version of it. That one won't have USB-C.
Yeah, dude, of course not.
Apple's gonna put. Listen, I shit you not. Apple's going to make a new mouse, okay, and they're gonna put the USB-C charging port on the bottom of it, and that is when I'm going to sell every Apple product I own, and just decide that they are beyond help. There's fucking nothing that you could do to save that goddamn company.
Crass in chat goes, Apple need 3 different dongle adapters to use it, and that's so true it hurts.
It's actually so true.
Anyway.
It's so fucking true.
So this has USB-C, so you won't need adapters. One of the interesting things that I was talking with somebody actually before the podcast, and they were referencing the old controller and how it had...
The Steam controller?
Yeah, the old Steam controller.
It had like the mouse pad things.
Which apparently he hated using. And he sent me a picture and showing me that I'll just pull it up for reference, I guess. This thing right here. Oops, that's got feet in it. Okay. This thing right here is kind of weird. And he says he really, really doesn't like that. And I'm trying to figure out, some people really like it. Some people don't. What's the actual... My issue with this version is that it was the primary pointing mechanism.
There's no other D-pad.
What they have here is the primary mechanisms are the thumbsticks and the D-pad and the buttons, and
you also have the trackpad. So you have all 3, which is
so the trackpads strictly exist, I think, because it's basically just a PC, and this is really what I was trying to explain to people in chat, you're not just fucking buying a game console here. This is actually a PC. You can install Windows on it, full fat Windows, no problem. And you can install whatever the fuck you want on it. You can, for most people traveling for work and shit, you can do most of your work unless it's an application you can only run in. Actually, no, it can just run in Windows. You can actually use this fucking thing as a driver, almost like a laptop but you have to plug it into a monitor or whatever wherever you're at. I guess you could work on it, but it's really small.
That is one thing that does have me a little bit worried though, because at least from what I read, and I still have a lot of questions about this. I don't fully understand a lot of it.
Sure.
But my understanding of the way they were pitching it was that it's rendering stuff on that screen in 720p, which is why it can get away with lower hardware to run like quote
1280
unquote
by
modern.
800.
Huh?
1280 by 800.
1280 by 800. Okay, but
Yeah,
like
but
then if you
it's
plug in a
not like
monitor, it's
yeah.
gonna
But
have a huge degradation.
you're completely misunderstanding why they did that. As
Okay.
I actually have a very good reason why. It has nothing to do with the power of the device and everything to do with battery life. Right?
Hmm.
So basically what they do is they say, "Hey, we have this small ass screen. In order to make it look good, this is the maximum number of pixels we really need, and we're going to stop there because if we go any further, we're going to kill the battery life." And if you want a perfectly good example, just look at the Switch. The Switch is perfectly capable of driving a 1080p feed, but on handheld it doesn't. And the reason that it doesn't is because otherwise the battery life would be like an hour flat. Right?
Yeah,
Mm,
somebody
that
there was
makes
somebody
Yeah.
saying that like you could play if you put it at 30 frames a second instead of 60 frames a second, you could possibly play 4 hours of Portal on it.
It
Was
doubles the
quote.
battery life.
Like you could.
It literally doubled it,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
That
so
makes sense.
basically, yeah, when you run it docked, like it runs, dude, it'll run up to 3.5 gigahertz on like a 4-core 8 thread, which is I'm imagining it could push that all core. Like it's a literal Ryzen like 3300X downclocked. So it can do anything that'll do. And like you're not even talking about whether or not like if you get a dock with a fan in it and it can do better cooling, like what is it capable of then? That for me this is a very interesting thing. Like obviously it's running on AMD's graphics, so there's no NVENC, which sucks because that would make it like that would add a whole other level of insanity to what it could actually pull off, right?
One thing that I did find very fascinating, and especially after having like dealt with Valve for so much time period, or not Valve, Apple, no
Yeah,
fucking vents anywhere, right? We look at the back of this thing. It's got this nice. Oh look, it's gonna be able to breathe. It's got one on the top. It's got one on the back. Like this thing,
yeah,
this thing's actually might be able to
yeah.
cool itself.
If you look at
Like,
so like this is when it's so funny. Like I'm literally my basis for comparison was a conversation I'm having with Salty Sally in chat yesterday, and not because like he was like pissing me off or whatever, but because like when I was talking about when I was showing you, I was like, there's actually like Linus has done like 6 or 7 different product reviews of things that look exactly like this. And they all have this like massive ending. This is actually of all of the devices I've seen, these are the smallest vents of like all of them, which is it really comes back to me that like Valve is one of these companies that could pull this shit off because they're big enough to leverage that with AMD, right?
mhm.
They can get a proprietary like APU made for them, kind of like how consoles do, because like the consoles don't have like your like a 5300X or 5600X in them. They have a very specifically designed GPU CPU combination that work very closely together to perform better than the individual parts would do if you just bought them off the shelf, right?
Mhm.
And they have that going for them that other companies don't have. So like these other companies that are making things like this that you could say this is like ripping off, um, they don't have that relationship. So they're just taking off the shelf parts and throwing them in here and then just being like, yeah, it's powerful enough, but like this is a completely different situation, I think, personally.
I'm kind of wondering like how its Bluetooth compatibility is and stuff like that. Like, if we can
Probably
just
really
install,
fucking good, dude.
if we can just install whatever we want on this and just like own the
Yeah.
device, can we
I
just
think
install a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard and like a
Everything, dude.
battery
The
pack
dock
and away
literally
you
just
go?
showed.
Like,
Yeah. This is why I
US
was saying it's a big deal. Like this covers a group of people who, like, day-to-day travelers who travel more than like half an hour a day on like a train or bus or whatever.
mhm.
This is for them. And it's possible. Like I don't know exactly how easy it will be to install different shit, but if you're commonly finding yourself in hotels and shit, like this could be for you too, where you just hook it up to the TV in there and then you're off to the races. Like it supports like mouse keyboard and everything. It's good. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it's x86, so like it'll do whatever the fuck you want.
What does the dock provide? Because I can find a
It's
lot of.
basically a Thunderbolt dock. Like it's a glorified Thunderbolt dock.
Okay.
Right? It's just there so you have a couple USB-A ports, right? Because like,
Hmm.
and actually, I was gonna chuckle about this, but I guess it sort of ties back in when you're giving Apple shit, and everyone gives Apple shit about the USB-C thing, but they kind of were ahead of their time. Like they canned every other port when everyone was still using USB-A, and now everyone's switched to USB-C, and they're like,
Oh
except on
yeah.
their fucking phones, which is just
Yeah.
the
That's the
funniest.
frustration I
Yeah,
have.
I
That's
know.
the frustration I
Where it
have.
would matter the most, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
We're this
bad.
close to a universal charger. This close,
It's so
and
close.
nope.
Yeah. Well, like it. It's funny that you think about it like that. Like you're like, yeah, man, it's got USB-C. That's so great. It's like, but then you think like all my devices I plug into it are USB-A still. Like, what would I even plug into it?
I'm gonna need a
Like,
lot of those adapters.
yeah, exactly. But that's what the dock's for. That's what I imagine. I think it's got probably Ethernet to it. I imagine. I have to look at it. It's probably on the product site, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll go looking for it and see what we got.
Yeah,
Any other thoughts on this thing? It's
I think it's fucking sick.
it might be one
Like-
thing that I try out. This might be like the first console that I buy.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good. I don't know. I don't know about a console replacement. I mean, it also will have Steam Link, which, by the way, is really good. Like, I hadn't tried it until I was like trying to play The Witcher, and I was just like wanted to do a couple quests, but didn't want to move my PC again, so I just installed it on my Apple TV, and I was just like playing. But it was like my PC was in here, and it actually worked like reasonably well. So even if you wanted to use your full GPU and everything, you could still do that. I don't know about a home console. Like I think that this is something you won't buy unless you travel. Like 100%, you need to be on the road for this thing to make any goddamn sense at all.
So
Like-
the other use case I could see is like I actually know a lot of people. This is gonna be like totally not the demographic that we're in, but
Yeah.
people who don't actually have PCs or don't have like a lot of
Oh,
people
if they
who
have
use
just like a
Macs and stuff.
phone and they
Yeah, like I have a lot of friends and stuff who are just like I basically use consoles because I only have a work laptop and it's a Mac or something, or I can't install games on my work laptop or things like that. And this is actually like a kind of nice, potentially accessible option of like, here is a nice thing. It's not gonna have a massive footprint, and I can keep it around. And maybe as long as I keep a monitor around, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can kind of hook in and like use it as even just a standalone desktop setup, basically.
Yeah. If you're the kind of person who unironically has like a Chromebook or
Mhm.
like you basically don't have whatever workflow you do doesn't require you to own a desktop or a laptop or like whatever or like a full like Windows or whatever.
Mhm.
This could actually be useful. If that's the case, so the problem is that same category of people won't like install Windows on it because they won't want to deal with it. So that you need to sell the actual device in multiple configurations of like with the Linux OS or with a Windows OS, like. Because you think about it, like if you're gonna it doesn't come with Windows, it comes with a Linux distro, like
Do
out
you
of the
think that will
box.
be a problem for that demographic, though?
For
I think they would.
demographic of people who don't own a computer.
Yeah, like, so think about it. It's not just like here is Linux.
Who do you even
and,
know
like,
that
good
doesn't
luck.
own a computer?
Okay, it's not even necessarily that they don't own a computer. It's that they don't own a computer that can play games.
Right.
That could be because it's a work computer. It could be
Yeah.
because they have like a Mac or something and they have very limited access. Like, I think there's actually a decent number of those people. I do wonder if the price point will still be in the range for like a lot of those people. But I think that like the OS that it sounds like it's Steam OS, which I don't think it's like I feel like just saying like it's Linux is maybe overselling
Well,
like how
already
difficult it'll
like
be to use.
multiple competitive games won't run on it. Like I think
Oh, that's
CS:GO
true.
won't, and
Mm,
PUBG won't because they have anti-cheat software that only runs on Windows.
that's a really good point, actually. I forgot SteamOS has a much more limited selection.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying like, if they want, I think they need to offer it with with different configs. Like, I don't think you can just sell it that way. I think selling it with a Windows config is a good idea, but I have no clue what they're gonna actually do.
I mean, they've got 3
Um,
configs listed, but OS isn't one of them.
Yeah, OS
Honestly,
isn't one of them. Yeah.
honestly though, for our audio listeners, the starting one's 400, the mid-range is 530, and the top of the line one is 650. And the difference seems to be a carrying case. The storage of the drive goes from 64 gigs to 256 to 512, and you get a faster SSD the more you go up.
So
Premium glass
this
in the
looked
top
to
line.
me like the 256 is by far the biggest no-brainer. Like, first of all, you move to NVMe SSD, and 256 is enough to install quite a few games, but you're still gonna have to get a micro SD card. So like
Right.
the amount, even with the 512, so you're quadrupling your storage in that tier. My guess is that like the way that they price this, I think Linus was saying, I think it was Linus, it might have been Dave 2D I was watching, who was saying that they're probably gonna lose money on the base model. And that's probably because very few people will buy it. Because when you step up, you get much faster storage, which is a big deal because they have the direct storage thing built into.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all AMD or whatever, the GPU can access it as well. So that's pretty useful. But you're quadrupling your base storage, which is basically the difference between having a game on it and having like 2 AAAs and like 5 smaller
So
games
I
on
can
it.
see some people that have like, if they want to do this, where this is what they buy and they're not planning to travel with, they plan to use it in the home or whatever, and they're using the streaming from my PC, which has tons of storage, to my console. That one might make a little bit more sense for them. Still, though, if you wanted to travel, though, I'm one of those people that's like, I want more than 1 or 2 games installed on it. So, yeah.
I actually wonder. I have no idea. This could be like the dumbest thing that I say this entire show, but I wonder if you're traveling, how important or like how helpful the anti-glare glass will be. I don't actually know how impactful that is.
It says premium
Probably
anti-glare
quite.
etched glass. I'm guessing that
Is
it's
that
like,
the max? Is that the max spec one?
yeah, that's the max spec one.
Yeah,
That's
so like
650.
probably a lot, bro. Like
I'm guessing
think
it'll be
about being
more
on a
traveling
scratch
bus
with
or
this?
resistant
something.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the storage, the step up tiers, like if you look at phones or basically literally anything else, like any other device where the storage is baked on, this thing is scaling exactly like everything else does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're bullying me because my camera apparently does not look as good as yours.
Yeah, so I for
Your
the people
camera
who
looks
are,
kind of fuzzy, frankly.
Yeah. I think it's because I'm hyper stretched to be in the center if I have to
yes,
guess.
so
Maybe if you invest in something like an A6 or something.
Ah, you guys are fucked. I could just throw the zoom lens on and could solve this problem for good.
it's mostly just the
But
people who are harassing your chat, but for those people,
yeah, it's
I'll
just
pan to
Dan.
this
Don't
camera
worry about
image
him.
and look at this, look at this. Robbie and I can't
Yeah.
do this. He's max chilling. I'm jealous.
Can we get
so like
can we
a
get
little bit of
can we get
it's
a
fine.
zoom lens for those leg hairs? Just can we start
No,
counting
leave my
the
leg hair
hairs?
alone.
I can
bro.
see a little
What's
bit of
wrong
a
with
toe
you?
already, so we're gonna swap off of that.
It's okay. No, man, it's not. You're fine with the toes. Right?
I'm
Not
just-
sexual in nature. I haven't started fucking licking an ear yet, so we're good. We're fine. Okay, it's gonna be okay.
Anyway, so that about wraps that up. We should.
I
Any
don't
other
think
closing
there's
thoughts
anything
you have
else
on
with
this?
the Steam Link, right?
You can order it December this year. Pre-order it.
Yeah, it's pre-order now. When does that go out?
It says Q2 2022. Yeah.
The one other thought or like question I had about it was what is cloud gaming, and is that actually going to be a thing that could work well with this? If you are doing this kind of like travel situation setup, like this, I could see being like a more reasonable case for it. Maybe
no. Cloud gaming sucks.
What about
Like,
hybrid cloud gaming,
need,
where
like,
your cloud is your computer in the other room?
Specifically, cloud gaming sucks the most when the internet connection is the shittiest, which is when you fucking travel. Like, what internet are you connecting to in a hotel where the internet is good?
I get half a meg down and 0.0001 up. Yeah,
That's-
that one.
That's good. 1 frame per second.
Hey,
Solid.
Starlink is coming, and I will be able to use.
Sure,
my
man. You
stream-
just show up to the Hilton, put your fucking satellite out the window, and you'll be good to go.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it's coming, but it's not even close. Like it's not. We're not there yet. It's not even close.
The reason why I ask is because it got brought up in my mind because the date is so far off, and I know that there's been a lot of talk about all the 5G shit and everything, and I am
it's only
wondering
about
if
a
there
year.
is some possibility that cloud gaming stuff, maybe not Q4 or whatever that they said 2022, but like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 years down the line when they start thinking about a V2, is that something that could boost the usability of it?
Maybe by that point.
Maybe, but 5G's ping is still like it's with all wireless. It's always the ping that fucks you, and then of course games. It's always the ping that fucks you. So like, it's not like the amount of data you can get down is there. It's just playing it is gonna suck. You know?
We get it, Sal. You hate playing on Australia. Just seriously.
Oh,
man, get over it.
listen. I blocked them, man. Australia's a country. Jesus, I didn't know.
It's fake news.
That's
It's
like
not a
they
real
don't
country.
exist.
Speaking of cloud
Yeah.
gaming, I wonder if we'll be able to run like maybe apps on this. Like maybe you'll be able to install, say, Netflix, hit that smooth transition. What if Netflix had a gaming streaming service? Netflix gaming? Anybody?
Oh,
I think
You could
they- I
offer
think they
game
can pull it
bundles
off,
as
man.
soon as 2022. That year is the same year that. Okay, I'm done. I can't
What
try
I
to
think
pretend
is
this is good.
more sick is I think what you guys were alluding to with the, like what we were actually talking about this pre-show.
Oh yeah,
Basically like them not like first of all putting games on the platform, okay, but then you have like they do what they did with their Netflix content, which is that they become a game dev studio. They actually get some games made, and then because they make film, they could literally make movies based on the games and they
because
can
they
have
own
like a
intellectual
whole.
property rights for whatever
Yeah,
the fuck
like,
they decide to make.
Just think about
There
The
you go.
Witcher, right? Like
Yeah.
they have The Witcher show, and they're already putting some.
oh my god, they can make a Witcher
DLC.
game. That'd be
Well,
so cool.
They're putting the costume that he wears in The Witcher into thing as DLC. So like, you can already kind of see how that might like all come about.
Transfer 15 years forward, and Netflix is a giant gaming monopoly that owns a retail
Didn't
store.
that be a twist
owns
of fate?
And
owns-
Activision merges with them too.
and then we need
Oh,
to break them
That's
up
how
again.
we know that like in 10 years after that, like all the Netflix gaming executives would leave and start rival companies that would eventually destroy the very thing that they all met from. Right.
Speaking of that, Amazon workers finally might be starting to unionize. Oh, another totally unrelated news. Jeff Bezos is out of Amazon and doing something else now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Classic.
Oh, sorry. That's a side.
It's all right. We don't have to worry about Bezos. He'll be circling the moon soon.
I'm just sad
Yeah.
we can't make Bezos memes anymore on Twitch.
Why not?
We can't just make Papa Bezos memes
He
anymore.
still owns it all. Relax. Come on. You think he's going to give up? Look at him. He's a unit. He's an absolute unit. I'm pretty sure he actually just took his brain and plopped it onto an android body, and he's just made sure it was jacked. He's
The
awake
androids
all the
live
time.
among us. Forget aliens. They're just. They're all
You're
just
really
androids.
obsessing over how muscular Bezos is.
Because you have to see what he looked like before. You know?
I saw what he looked like before. I worked at Amazon. I've
was
seen him.
a little tiny nerdling.
Oh my god.
And now it's like it's just so like
He
I
went
don't
from
know. It's just such a
nerd who
it's all
sells
about the
books to
transformation.
Chad.
Yeah, exactly.
Chad that sends shit into space. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other
Elgato?
thoughts on Netflix? Nope. Okay, take it away, Elgato. Who wants to start? They released 9 things, one of which is software, one of which is. Let's start with lesser known
Okay,
things.
so wait, what did they release in software? Because I don't know.
So it's like a browser-based something where you can design your own like virtual workspace, virtual studio type thing.
Oh,
for
yeah.
green screens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I didn't get a chance to play around with it, but I want to at some point.
it sounds cool if it's not like if it doesn't end up being, hey, insert all of your Elgato products into like an empty space, and we'll have like anything that there's not an Elgato product for, like a desk or something. We'll give you some generic thing, but it's only Elgato products. Like that's what I'm afraid it's gonna be.
It probably will just be that. I don't know. I'd have to actually take it for a spin, see how it works, see what it does exactly.
It would be cool if it wasn't that and it had a lot more dynamic stuff, because I could see Sal getting a lot of use out of it as he tried to explain what people should do as he gives feedback on people's
Oh
setup.
yeah.
Super cynical take. It could be really cool. It could also be one of the biggest things that they push for. Here's all of our other products. This is a studio where you come and advertise, hey, do you want this? Oh, look, you could design the 3D stuff. Oh, do you want lights?
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
100%.
if you buy this, you could pull that in here. Like, that's...
Yeah, and they could do like
I'm usually the optimist, but that's what I'm feeling.
Is that a cynical thing to think? I think that's like a realistic thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's a cynical and realistic thing.
And you have other stuff like they could like partner with like Herman Miller, for example, or like partner with like IKEA. So like like all of the objects you would like load in would all be different. You know, just like one brand or whatever. Like that'd be. Yeah, they could just do
I wouldn't even be
advertising
mad
that way.
about that. That's like, look, if you made some really cool thing that helps people plan shit out, like you want to find a way to like that's not actually intrusive to monetize it. Yeah, go for it. Like advertise some. If someone wants an IKEA couch that they're gonna advertise, like great.
I have no problem with it. Like, but I do think that it's kind of you're in this weird spot for people who are like learning, like, and want to. It's I hate it in that sense. Like if you're learning, like if you're like, okay, so like I'm getting into streaming, let me see how to spec this thing out. And like so now everything you buy is basically going to be verbatim what you can spec out in the software because that's what you think streamers should be buying. Like but I could see what Cobra Venom's getting at there. Like obviously if
cynical
if you
because
found this
when
tool,
I say cynical,
you probably know how to Google.
To bounce off your idea, sorry to interrupt. Bounce off your idea. It's you and me usually like to recommend like here's the best thing for the job in product A category, product B category. It's not like hey, here's a lineup of this specific manufacturer brand. We're gonna recommend what they make all there. No, it's like what's the best tool for the job in this thing, and it's like this trends us toward being stuck at this rut of like, hey, only use this stuff because it only works with this, and That's why I was saying it was a little bit cynical.
What I find, and I could be totally wrong on how most people end up using this, but what I find more likely is that the people who are going to put in the effort to actually design stuff out are going to be the people who probably have some better idea of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to end up linking those things around to other people with things picked out being like, hey, if you're a starter streamer, here's like a potential good setup with a bunch of options here. And they'll probably make some mention of like, and obviously the couch is optional, or obviously like you can pick out some different shit, or like if you're in a noisy place, you can use this setup that has this different microphone that's a little cheaper, things like that. That's at least what I imagine people would more likely end up using it. Because I don't think like the newbie streamer who's like, let me get into streaming and stuff and, you know, buy all the equipment and everything. And they're going to be like, yes, let me spend 2 hours setting furniture in a room in a virtual environment.
They're going to try to automate the furniture and as much of that stuff as possible. Just like, drag and drop it in there, cookie cutter.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, they could just have like generic objects too, which would be fine. Like, yeah, I don't really know. I'd have to see the tool. I'd have to see what they do with it because I know
play around with it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh look, there's a Coke bottle. There's a Pepsi bottle.
There's a couple pieces of software online for like. I only know this because I built a small form factor case. But there's a small form factor like PC measuring tool that you can like load in all the different small form factor computers, and actually see like how big they are compared to just household objects and stuff like that. So if there's anything like that, and like you just have like generic couch and it's just a block, you know, like that's fine. Like I don't think there's really a problem, to be honest. But it's more like if it's like, so what, you know, DAC should I buy? And then there's just like one that you can drag and drop in. It's like, okay, I see what's happening here.
Let me guess, it's the fucking Scarlet
Yeah.
one that has all the problems.
No, it'll be the Elgato one that they just released.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they just-
forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so they have so many things.
they dropped a lot of
that
stuff.
was the deck one was like was that one a little while ago? Anyway,
No,
well, that was
which
the
one?
brand new one. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Also, can I just say, if
yeah,
they
go.
picked out like, okay, you can use the Wave 1 or like, you know, some like hooked on arm mic version versus like a desk mount or whatever, like
Yeah.
if you're setting this shit up, do you actually care that much about which microphone they use in your virtual environment, or are you just looking
No,
to
I
get
don't
a
think they
sense?
do.
Like it
No,
at the
I
end of the
don't.
day, like
Yeah,
even if they used Elgato products for it, if they have like a microphone like mount for a boom arm or something, like I'm just gonna be like, it's a boom arm. Like I don't care if it's Elgato themed.
Yeah.
The one I get might not be Elgato themed. I'm just looking for a virtual environment.
Well, they're very like Elgato was very intelligent here to recognize that they do not make the best microphone. Like they make a good mid-range mic, and you know this because their next the next product they just released was the XLR DAC thing, like the what the hell is it called? The Elgato Wave, is it the Wave Deck? Is that
I
what
think
it's
Wave
called?
Deck was it. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
mic
so
arm,
I think it's the Wave
LP,
Deck.
and a wave arm regular. What?
No, yeah, the arms we'll get into after, but the Wave Deck I think is the one you want to look at.
Oh, you're talking about the XLR wave deck. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad.
So like, so this is the thing about Elgato. Like, it's very clear that they're there to like aid streamers with their set, like with their stuff, but they're not. They know that they're not like gonna replace like the SM7B or something like that. Like they don't. They obviously thought that like they could take the Yeti because like, I mean, it's easy to take the Yeti. But this thing is basically just. I think that this is probably like end game for the vast majority of streamers if streaming is all you do. Built into it is the ability to make virtual audio channels, which is fucking absolutely necessary in today's Twitch because you need the ability to remove music tracks, right? And the only way to do that is to have more than one audio source. So like this would be like an almost essential piece of kit. And the way that they did this is that they took what they learned from the Elgato Wave like mic, and they just removed the mic, and they kept all the software.
Because a lot of people are clamoring for them just to release the software on its own, and they're like,
Yeah,
"How can we
that's what this
monetize
is.
that?" Here's the device
Yeah.
that's like super basic. You have a single line out that's analog, that's 3.5.
Yeah.
It's very 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 basic, but there you go. Now you can buy their software by buying this little piece of hardware.
Does it also come with like compressor and a bunch of other stuff?
Yeah, the full suite.
Mm.
Not only that, the thing that makes this thing so valuable is that apparently it's powerful enough to drive an SM7B.
Yes, plus 48.
RE20.
Oh yeah.
Plus 48 Phantom.
It's like plus 70 or something, right?
Yeah, it's got like plus 70
That's
dB
cool.
gain. Like
Yeah.
it's not the Phantom Power that it does Phantom Power,
It's
but
both.
it actually
I'm trying to say it has both.
yeah, it does enough clean gain to actually push an SM7B. So it's its downsides basically come down to it has one XLR port and a USB-C, and that's
The other downside I would say, that, like compared to the other thing that I think is the competitor for this, is just the Go XLR, right? Like which is a much more expensive thing. But I will say, like, one of the reasons I would probably never want to use this myself, like just because I appreciate being able to have multiple knobs. Having everything controlled on one knob, I find like unappealing.
Yeah, but you would just have it open on another screen, and just it has all the knobs. But
The software
virtual.
needs some work as well with some of the sliders software-wise, but that can be fixed and probably will be in time.
You also
However,
have
the
to
point of
remember,
a
Abby,
physical knob is that you don't have to tab out of whatever you're doing
I know.
to go just
This
the
is
volume.
this is for those people who are like, hey, recommend me a DAC to buy, and you show them the price of a Go XLR or a Go XLR Pro, or regular.
Yeah.
The Pro is the regular.
Oh no, I think this is fantastic.
This is
for,
what
like,
you're like. Hey, perfect.
It's
Here you go.
$200, right?
Yeah.
So not only that, but like with a Go XLR, like you're not just buying a Go XLR, then you have to buy the fucking thing too, the cloud lifter as well, right? Because it doesn't have enough gain to drive.
No, you don't actually. Right now. I'm not using a cloud lifter.
Right, yeah, right. For the 7B, I think the RE20 requires it, but the 7B
Mm.
apparently is just like super hot. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think.
okay.
I mean, like, I think the Wave XLR is a fantastic option, especially if you're looking to like for something that's cheaper and you don't care about all the extra random shit
Yeah.
the Go XLR has. Like,
If you're this, I think if you're a set it and forget it kind of person,
Mhm.
it's an obvious.
There's
buy,
actually
right?
one thing that the Elgato software does better than the XLR stuff. XLR has a very limited number of audio lines and like inputs. And from what
Yeah.
I understand, I haven't messed around with it myself, but from what I've read, the Elgato software lets you basically just add
Yeah,
audio
you can
inputs.
just
Like,
keep populating new ones. Yeah.
yeah, which that is crazy valuable to me if you're doing like something super advanced.
Yeah. Well, yeah, audio ducking is a big one that like it's very important, like it's very useful
Mm.
there. And then you've got like being able to separate the
Not
tracks
to,
to
not to
Twitch and stuff like
shortcut
that.
the Go XLR because it has a bunch, but it's not like unlimited. For most people, they're not
No,
going to run
yeah.
out of that.
That
For
is
the
true.
average consumer, for people like the three of us, yeah, okay, we might want more than 8 tracks or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you
I
want
mean
a separate
this
microphone for your keyboard.
yeah. This piece of software is really solid. Or this piece of software is very valuable, I think. And just being able to have like decent compression and decent gain control and decent EQing just all built in, and then the added like multi-track feature I think is just really good. I think it's good value. I think it's
Yeah.
probably the best value product of all the products they released, to be honest.
yep, this is going
In
to be
this.
something that I recommend to a lot of people in the future.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
I think this is gonna like the biggest thing to me is this is gonna make it really easy and simple for people who don't have XLR microphones to just get into XLR microphones. It's like you don't have to
Yes.
worry about
Yeah,
super
yeah, yeah.
expensive like fucking audio device and how it all hooks up and how it all works. It's just like no,
Yeah.
get this.
A really
Your
good
XLR microphone now will just work.
A really good combo with this would be to sell people on like the the MV7, and then say, hey,
Yeah.
you could, if you like this microphone, you could just plug it into your USB and your computer. You're only out $250. If you spend another 200, now you have all the software that's available and can control all this mix of stuff. And that's like a really, really good combo for people.
Yeah.
Would you recommend a separate mic other than that one right now if they wanted to get in at like
I mean,
that price point?
I think if you're gonna go this route, like you could go with anything made by Shure. To be honest, you could go with
Yeah.
7B, MV7. You could go
They're
with
all solid.
the what's the little one, SM58. Like
Yeah.
that'll because this will drive it, right? Like
And you'll be able to clean it
when
up and boost it with that.
yeah. The thing about Shure mics is that the resale value is just so good. Like you'll in 3 years you'll just sell it for $70 when you bought it for 100. Like no problem.
Disclaimer
Well,
here:
it's
not like
we're not sponsored by Shure
No,
microphones
no,
or
no.
Elgato yet, but you can email us at almostessentialpodcast@gmail.com.
It's gonna get weird if we get sponsored by Elgato.
Because then we
got to
be like,
a lot of shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we do get straight up disclaimer: if we do get sponsored by anybody at any point in the future, and they release a bad product, we're still gonna shit on it, just as a heads up.
Yeah.
But if you do make a good product, we'll give you praise like this.
But I won't shit on it. I will shill the hell out of it.
He's gonna get the sponsorship before us. Damn it.
This is how it's done.
If you want to sponsor my 12 streams a year,
Nice. Those are valuable.
what do
you
yeah.
know, they're rare.
Especially. What else do we think about this before we go to some of the other products?
No, I think it's just good value. It's actually just good.
This is like one of the really neat shots that I appreciate. The
Yeah.
artistic shot of this, of like it's the exact same size as a Stream Deck and they're right next to
It's
each other. Like the
very
aesthetic of a
clean.
desk that
Yeah.
you can make with this, like,
Mhm.
and
It
then
is a very
white
clean
keyboard, just
setup.
I don't know.
like
It's a clean setup, like, and they're very cohesive,
Mhm.
right? Like
They are.
they've got a very cohesive brand and setup, and yeah, like I knew this. I didn't know this was coming, but like I really wondered if something like this would come along with how good the Wave software was, because it made what is a completely average mic, like good. Like it was a good value buy, even though it's like a very meh microphone.
Oh, and one other thing is that this also does solve like Elgato's problem of having a microphone that they wanted you, if you wanted to change any of the audio levels, you had to literally constantly be touching your microphone.
Which
They
is
solved that problem by making it a separate device. Thank God.
Oh, is that what the Wave
The
did?
Wave literally, like, it's basically, imagine right here on the microphone, there's a
Yeah.
little circle. So every time you want to change it, you're not only rotating it, but you're also clicking to change which audio thing you're trying
Oh,
to
that's
mess
just
with.
pain.
So it was constantly, if you want to use it, you just were touching the device.
That's awful.
Yeah. But hey, it's solved.
They fixed it.
They fixed it.
oh god on their website. Okay, I pull up this and it says multifunction dial, and it's a single dial.
Yep.
Tweak input gain,
Yeah.
adjust headphone volume, crossfade. Like, okay, let's put how many things we can put into a single button.
But-
like this is like
okay,
exact opposite
Can,
of like.
can you adjust that stuff via the software though?
What do you mean like
Can you adjust the things
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
this
I think
knob
you
in
can
software?
adjust it. You can adjust it through the software. I've seen people do that.
Yeah, they
So,
get
like,
a pass for
that is an option.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But this is actually, so even the bigger device that they have is the same dial basically. It's a larger
Yeah.
version, a separate device. So they are solving some of the problems, but this is what I was talking about when I was like, I like my knobs. I like that it's not just
Yeah.
here's one thing that does everything, even though it's a very clean aesthetic. Like functionally, it's more of a pain.
I mean, obviously, I agree with you because I needed a Stream Deck XL. Like that's I completely understand that. But like, if you're looking at because like this is the device you target towards like, I would say upper mid level streamers,
Mm.
like between like 150 viewers to probably like 500 or so. Where like this thing is gonna take care because you don't have to worry about VST plugins. Like you don't have to worry about any of that shit. Like it's all handled in one spot. And it's like it's gonna be a pretty premium deck. Like it's gonna sound good, and the super upper echelons of streamers, like yeah, okay, well they can buy whatever the fuck they want. Like no, they're not gonna buy a one input device. They're gonna buy like some crazy thing made by Apollo or something. They're not gonna do this. But I think for like this, they basically have the low end and beginner streamer covered with the Wave, and then they've got their like upper mid range covered. Like I think that they're just gonna dodge the premium market altogether. Like I don't think
There's too many
they
heavy
have
hitters in that market to like
Yeah.
take on directly, and they're like building out
you
their
can't,
ecosystem
like-
more than trying to take those guys on.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
take on the guys who work in that like at that level, like you're taking on people that are companies that literally focus on just audio preamps. Like that's what they do. They're a preamp company. They make great preamps and with, like their own characteristics and shit. You're gonna take that on as a fucking company that only sells to streamers? Like no, like these people are selling to musicians that make like tons of music worth millions of dollars. Like they're not fucking, they're not even on the same level.
They're like, what's the best thing? I didn't even look at the price tag. I hit buy. Like that's
Yeah,
that's the level they are at. You know,
that's the kind of level you're fucking at. Like it's not the same, right? So like I think that this is truly the best value focused like buy you could make, probably until you need more than one XLR port. Like once you hit that, that's a hard
So-
stop. Like that's
so I wouldn't. No, go ahead. You first.
Yeah, I was wondering, can you just plug in multiple of these?
yeah, but see the thing is that
The
I
soft-
mean you could
you
Sorry,
fuck
go
up the
ahead,
whole
go ahead.
software.
Would you?
Like, what are you doing? Running virtual machines so that you can run another version of the software?
Well, no, like I know that for their camera stuff, they just have it as like Elgato HD60 Pro #1, Elgato HD60 Pro #2. So it would just be recognized as a second one, and then it would just open a second instance of it.
Think about it. There's no, like, the physical device is just this round slider that has a electronic display of what the levels and stuff are at that you're setting.
Yeah.
If you rotate stuff, it's all software that is just updating. There's no hardware like sliders or anything that they have to go update like they would on the Go XLR, which they do have that kind of mechanical slider, but that shit's more expensive. This is just literally go update the blinking lights on the other device because the audio level change. It's gonna look exactly the same to that second device that let the audio change from the first device as if you just change it on the computer itself.
I don't know. Again,
In
we
theory.
haven't had, in theory. And to be clear, this is brand fucking new. None of us have actually had our hands on it. We don't actually have a lot of reviews out for
This
this.
is not
We don't.
financial advice.
This is exactly. So this might be a dud product and everybody hates it in like 2 days when they arrive, but I highly doubt that'll be the case. But I'm interested to see somebody who actually grabs 2 of these and plugs them in the same machine if the software will fuck up or it'll work correctly. But the actual thing I was going to say was I think kind of the biggest problem that most people might have with this before they run into needing 2 XLR ins are needing 2 audio outs, because you could take the 3.5 and add a splitter to it and then have 2 3.5 coming out to 2 different PCs, but it's like, can I just have an out as well? Does the USB-C only provide power? Does it provide the digital going through there? Like I kind of want there to be an analog out and a digital out at the same time, not just the. I think they're going to run into that before they run into wanting 2 XLR inputs.
No, but analog outs would mostly be if you want I feel like 2 PC setups. Like I really feel like that's not like people who are in that price bracket.
Even people that don't have 2 PC.
It's like what's
PCs.
a use case where you'd want that?
A lot of people want to throw it into. So I know people that have a device and they want to take the audio feed, throw it into the computer, but also hear it in their headset before it goes through the computer.
Yeah, but this does
They have
that.
a headset jack.
But what if you don't want to run your audio through this device? Like, what if you want your audio coming through the computer, not this device?
So this does the mixing. So like you can choose how much it goes to it does the audio splitting. Right?
Maybe I'm just being way too.
Yeah. So like this is my point. Like it's the people that they're targeting with this device in the first place are like literally streamers who just stream. Like that's what they're doing. They're not producing anything aside from that. So like they plug this in and this would just be like for their headphones. So I can see what you're saying. Like you're not going to be able to put it to a set of speakers, which sucks. Right? Like on top of that, it's meant to like literally drive a pair of headphones and call it a day.
Also, if you think about a mid-level streamer, those are the kind of people who are like, oh my God, why can I hear my own microphone when they hear a monitor?
You get that a lot.
And they turn that shit off. Like,
do you know how many people that I know that actually listen to audio out of their PC through a TV that's plugged in? Because that's how they can get audio out.
Are there a lot?
That's how they listen. That's their speaker system. That like because they don't have a place to plug in stuff because they have like a simple device or like a simple sound card and it doesn't offer 2 audio outs. So like, they have a headset. Yeah, so they go on their Windows thing and they change it each time. Like that's the life people live. And I'm like, you're used to this? This is normal for you? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I won't mess with your system because you're used to it. It works for you. And I'm like, but there's such a better just put one more audio out. Just one more jack.
Wait,
okay.
That's
a set of 1/4 inches would be nice. Like for sure.
Tremendously. It's way easier to convert from 1/4 inch to 3.5.
Yeah. I think that it's just very clear who they're targeting with it, and that's why it's the way that it is. Like it's just meant to be a device that sits on your desk and you're just meant to throw a pair of headphones on it and that's it. But like because obviously like I own like Steinberg and a Focusrite, like having the 1/4 inch outs like to do stuff like just have a pair of speakers or whatever is very useful. But that's not what they're headed for at all, I think, with this. Although it would be nice. And Epos Walks was like I watched a little bit of his take and he was saying that he had some problems with it, but it looked like it was mostly like a port problem, and I imagine that that's one of the things that he didn't like either, was the fact that you literally only have a headphone jack out.
I didn't listen to his, but I imagine that would be something he mentioned.
Yeah, there should be a shit ton of reviews because they all reviewed it in advance and posted it.
Let's see what next. Let's spin through the ARM options real quick before we get to the Stream Deck.
I'm buying the LP. So they have like a regular mic arm, and they have a low profile mic arm.
So this is the regular one.
Yeah.
and this is the low
So,
profile one.
yeah. So they have one that you can like throw over top of a monitor. That's the
That's
basically
this one that's
like
got.
yeah, it's got that little stand guy, and then you could just like put it over top of your monitor. But I'm gonna try the low profile one. This is sick, and like there's some fucking guy on Twitter was like, this is way too expensive. My $17 mic arm is more than good enough. Like this is a big miss. And I was like, dude, you're so lost. Like the shitty like $17 mic arms are such trash. This thing's got tons of cool features. Like it's got the little ball head, so you can like orient it correctly. It doesn't have the problem with the SM7B, where like yeah, you have to buy the little extender like pole. And it's got like those channels like where the cable goes in they're magnetic, so you can just like pull them off, and you can store all the like the little hex key and shit in there too,
Keep it clean
which
and
is
tidy
really
with
nice.
everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
clean and tidy. This is sick. Like I really want to see how much how much nicer my field of view is with low profile mic arm. But I've gotten sick of the blue one anyway. Like the one made by Blue. The fucking
That was $100, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like 120 when I bought it. The springs are just too fucking tight. Like it just bounces up. Like I'll put it in front of my face, and then over the course of the stream, the mic will just slowly climb. Like, and then I'll just adjust it, and then I'll have to pull it further and like tilt it back so like it's not at such a steep angle. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I had that problem with the shotgun mic that I sent you.
Yeah.
At least these will be able to provide enough.
Yeah, they're
They'll
hex
be
key
able
tightened.
to. Yeah, so
So
they'll
you
be able
can-
to have enough
yeah.
oomph to carry a really big microphone like the SM7B or MV7, because a lot of the issues with some of those $17, $13, $20 microphone arms that you see on Amazon are they're used to like a Blue Yeti or something that weighs a quarter or a third of what one of these puppies
Oh,
weigh.
yeah. Dude, the ones I got from Amazon that cost like $20, like they couldn't even carry the SM7 or SM58.
And that's a
And
super
it's
light
a fucking
microphone.
pencil, dude. Oh my god, I was molding. Oh,
You know what?
I
I
remember that.
I just want that little stupid extender thing on the one that goes over the monitor. I just want the little extender thing that they sell.
You can buy that.
Which thing?
Like that's a separate add-on. It's part
Yeah.
of their multi-mount kit. You can just buy it.
Wait, is it available right now?
I think so.
Are you talking about
Okay.
this piece with the ball head on it?
No, not the
Oh,
ball.
or the thing that like puts it higher.
I think it's the
like
base that hooks onto the desk.
Oh yeah, the pole.
Yeah. I just want the pole. Like that's actually all I want.
Oh, this piece. Okay.
Yeah. That is fucking nifty though. That's so sick.
I wonder if you put
Like
the
I'm pretty sure
wire
it's
in there.
very, very cheap and easy to make, but my god, that is all I wanted actually.
No, you can't put the wire in there.
Yeah,
Never
but then you got the clamp, like, and you got the base. The whole thing is it's the whole package. It's good piece of kit.
Yeah.
That'll be nifty.
Yeah. So these come in like at 129 USD, right? So they aren't cheap. So they better be fucking good, Elgato.
So the regular one is 100, and
Oh,
low
the LP
profile
is more
one
expensive.
is. Let's see. No, they're both $100.
Oh, so when I clicked, it was so when I looked on my end, it must have been 129 Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Shit, that's easy. That's so good. Yeah, 99 makes it right in line with the Rode PSA 1 and the Blue Compass. So that's really well priced.
And then we have the
Yeah,
wall
I'll
mounts.
let you guys know how this shit goes.
Yeah, dude.
Like that, yeah.
We'll come back for a review of this in the future.
Because I'll actually have owned all three. In that case, like all three of the default ones.
So this is kind of a neat system where you have, here's your initial thing, and then you could buy these accessories of flex arms and mounts, and it's like...
Yeah, they started that with the multi-mount, and now they've got like the wall attachment. This is sick.
Yeah.
Like you can buy them for pretty cheap. I have them to hold the monitor, like the LED lights that I have, but like the way that they have this set up is like really nice. It's not like the most economical. I think that there are cheaper versions, but I think that it's like it's just nice to have it all in one place, I think. Like you can just basically set it up any way you want, like, and it'll carry whatever you want it to carry. It's cool.
It's a pretty good system of modular parts that you can just grab and build out. Again, for people that are having shaking cameras or shaking microphones based on the desk moving or something like that, this is great. For people who have apartments and can't actually tack into their walls or anything, it's a little bit rough, but what can you do?
Well, they have actually, no, never mind.
I mean, you can just
forfeit
your
you
security
go to the
deposit.
side, but you gotta repair it after.
Or forfeit your security
I
deposit.
knew one guy who had a dresser beside him, and he has it's a wooden dresser, and he bought it specifically at IKEA so that he could fucking tap the side of it and then put this on top of it. Not the cardboard stuff, but like an actual like 1/4-inch wood. I'm
that
like,
is big brain.
This guy's 5-head. Like
that is pretty 5-head. Yeah, nice.
Let's see. Then they had
But at that point, why wouldn't you just use a tripod?
Space. He doesn't have space left and right. Like there's a TV stand immediately to his left, the bed, It's like,
Dude, I got so much room real estate back when I moved from tripods to wall-mounted shit, because the tripod, in order to not fall over, needs a massive base. Whereas when you screw it into the wall, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, like half the like. There's a good 2 feet on the other side of my desk, which is just like foot space of the two tripods.
Everything in this room is wall mounted now. Like nothing except for the desk is on the floor. Everything.
Anybody care about their light strips? I don't know if this is.
Nope. It's not even
blah.
new light strips. It's literally just we have light strip extenders.
Right.
We can extend your light strip. Cool.
Remember that old thing?
This is
like make it longer.
This is only necessary if you've gone like Apple levels of Elgato.
And you're just so far into the ecosystem. You have
you're
everything.
so far into the fucking ecosystem now that like you control everything with your Stream Deck. Yeah, okay.
Look at this.
This
guy's got
this is
a cool picture, but he's got it behind the bookcase. Oh, you can't see the cursor, but on the left he's got it. Each shelf has got one, which is 4, and then he's got this around all 4 angles. Of the TV has it, the bookcase has it. The shelf. Okay.
But what I really love is that this is not even. This is just for home entertainment. Like,
hey man, my living room is lit.
Yeah.
This is
it's
for
not
the person
part of your stream. It's just there.
If Elgato sold a lock for your house, they would be like, well, I can hook it up to my Stream Deck and unlock and lock my door.
You're giving him ideas. Damn.
But yeah, I don't really get this one. Like, this feels like a really silly move from them because of how open the Stream Deck is. You can your Hue lights will work with it. So there's so many. I imagine they have to be competitively priced, right? Like, they can't be expensive. You can't be paying the Elgato tax here because you could literally any Wi-Fi light will work.
I don't know the logistics on this.
Yes, they're the same price as Philips Hue, $60
If they were just hey, we can just provide this because we kind of need something similar enough already.
Sure.
With our product line, why don't we just sell them? If people are buying some of these because people do buy them, why not just sell them also?
Then in that case, this is actually a good move by them because they're hey, we're selling you these sound panels that have lights. You want more of them? Well, buy some lights because they're as expensive as they would be anywhere else, and they work with Stream Deck, so why not?
And I think also it's just people typically, I feel like people who use Elgato stuff are usually just yeah, works pretty well. I think they have a pretty good brand for if you don't know your shit and you see Elgato selling something, you're usually probably well, it's probably not going to be terrible.
Their marketing department's great on this.
That kind of leads us into the last one. I think the last one is next, right?
There's two more. Well, I guess we kind of already talked about the Stream Deck a little bit, but it's
Oh yeah, the
MK2.
Stream Deck is. So I'll break down the Stream Deck
blow through the
real
differences
quick. Ready?
between MK1 and MK2.
Same
Go.
Stream Deck as before, except they finally fixed the shitty stand. So now the stand is like this. So this is basically, this Stream Deck is the same as the Stream Deck XL. The Stream Deck is on like a sturdy base, and they're like,
As
now
opposed
you can
to this
yeah, that piece of shit. Yeah.
Excuse you, there were 3 changes. There was that.
And the
They added
faceplates.
The faceplates. I was gonna.
Yeah.
And they also made it so that the power out or the USB out or something on the Stream Deck can be detached.
It's
not just like
removable
literally
USB-C now.
Again, like literally Stream Deck XL.
Nothing actually impactful.
Nothing new. It's nothing new. The faceplate is new, but everything else is just like basically like they had the Stream Deck regular, and then they did Stream Deck Mini, and then they did Stream Deck XL, and they
did do a software update to these that you can monitor some of the systems, monitor your hardware systems, which I think goes for the old ones as far as I can tell as well.
Yeah,
which is a nice quality of life
upgrade. This is like
upgrade.
a couple weeks old.
Yeah. So like kudos for them for continuing to improve that software and adding plugins and stuff like that. It's
so much shit.
There's a lot you can do with this.
Like you can just upload your plugins. It's actually really fucking good.
Like I'm recommending this to people who don't stream and they're like, how can I like bind this thing to my keyboard? And I'm like, actually, let me tell you about a Stream Deck. Like you can find one of these used even like they're like, oh, a single button doesn't work, and you're like, literally don't mess with that button. Buy a used one or whatever.
Yeah.
Even brand new ones, it's still very easy to sell them for the price.
Yeah,
it's really good.
I will say there is a small part of me that's like, how hard could it be to hijack whatever, like just read in whatever signals the device is sending through USB and just do it like write basically that same software for the connection for like a numpad, just like a separate numpad. And then you could just literally link it into because the software is doing all the heavy lifting.
I'll make you a promise.
There
you
goes your
can make
sponsorship,
enough money to buy 30 Stream Decks in the time it takes you to figure that shit out.
It's not about the money, Sal. It's about
no, I know, but like, just buy a Stream Deck. Like, for fuck's sake, bro.
There goes Robbie's sponsorship about it, by the way.
Well, I mean, you could also like, yeah, they're really smart in how they like. They really want to give streamers a chance because they also have the app so you could literally just use your phone, like, or use an iPad or like use whatever and just like have the Stream Deck functionality. It works. I've used it extensively.
That's one of the things that I was going to mention earlier, like because Philips Hue, you do it on an app on your phone. So like the fact that you can do this that way on your phone as well, pretty nice. This is what some people do with their old phones actually is, oh, you have an old phone laying around not being used? Pop it up. Sure, the battery's shot anyway. Just leave it plugged in all the time and Stream Deck.
You guys are right. I don't need to hack the USB signal. I can literally just do network traffic.
No, Sal, it's about the hacking. He just because he wants to do it. It doesn't already exist right there with the screen. No, okay.
I mean, you do it. Like, that's fine.
Does anybody know if the faceplates are removable?
Yeah.
Do the faceplates come on or off?
I will own a Stream Deck, and then I will go hack a Stream Deck so I can replace it.
Does anybody know if the faceplates are removable? I don't actually care enough to look it up.
On which one?
All of them. Like, do you buy one and then the faceplate comes on or off, and you buy a different skin, or is it just?
Yeah, the faceplates are removable on this. They're removable on the Wave deck as well.
Okay. Counterpoint: you could also just probably 3D print a new faceplate if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Counterpoint: you could probably 3D print a faceplate for
but they
V1.
said that. Like, they said that you'll be able to do that. That's fine.
Nice.
They're good with that. But, you know, another thing, because you're talking about just binding a numpad, you forgot about the screens, like the LED screens, like behind each button. Like, that is actually a very useful
when
function.
you push them, they change colors and they let you know if
Here's
it's
a really
active
good
or
example,
inactive.
though.
I don't use
I have
that
a great
at all.
example. On the prediction, with the predictions, it became way easier to pick which prediction by changing the icon to L gang or W gang, right? And then you have like each button becomes a different
Mm-hmm.
thing because you can literally, depending on which app is in context, it can change the entire layout. And then the buttons all change too. And like, that's the kind of thing that, yes, you could get a numpad, but like once you attach a screen to every single button, you've basically bought a Stream Deck. So like,
That is true. The
it just
screens can
is,
be nice.
it's just worth it. Like I actually think that it's valuable.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I definitely think it's valuable.
Yeah,
It
I really
depends,
do.
but it depends on how much you're using it, right? It's like if you are filling up the entire Stream Deck to the point where you are and actually using the folders and all that stuff, like
Yeah.
then yes, I think it's valuable. In the use case that Matt was talking about, where it's like I'm telling people who aren't streamers that just want to like control the lights in their house or something, I'm like,
Dude, Jeremy
no, they're
uses it
putting
a
like
fuck ton, man.
they're putting like
for
automations on
for
it.
productivity work.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I actually mostly use my Stream Deck for automations. Like I don't actually use it for streaming mostly.
Yeah.
Some
And
people
that
do
makes
like
sense.
I think this might have been him, but I don't even if it's not Jeremy, there's other people I know who do this where they have the Photoshop Premiere set and
Yeah.
After Effects and you can just swap between
Yeah.
the various things in between there. It's pretty handy. Yeah, so Jeremy does do
Super
that as well.
useful.
Yep. That's about enough of that. Yeah. Blah blah blah.
No,
Next I have
one.
Facecam. What? Oh, go. You got something else?
Yeah, this is the last one. Facecam.
Oh, I thought you said there was
Okay.
there's another
No, this is
something
it.
about Stream
This is
Deck. Okay. This is it. This is the last thing. So, we've seen some footage of this that people have. It doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look great. I'm not thrilled with
Okay.
the colors of it. However,
So
okay,
yeah.
Mr. Cameraman, take us away. This
So
is
I
your
looked at
specialty.
I was looking at Alpha Gaming, or yeah, Harris
Mm.
Heller was like looking at it, and Evos Vox looking at it. Basically, and then I had a long conversation with Jason about whether or not this was something that would be something you would recommend. This thing solves a lot of the problems with this with like this stream like just like Logitech shit in general. So first of all, obviously Elgato being like a partially software company as well,
Mhm.
like the software to control is very good. You can control everything from exposure. I think you get there's a depth of field thing. There's like the actual software controls are really sick, and when you save them,
it to the hardware.
it saves to the camera. So if you are taking this camera around and like putting it into different devices, saves everything. It's perfect, like absolutely
Mhm.
phenomenal, because like Logitech is just a piece of shit when it comes to that exact issue.
You can save hardware profiles to your mice that are Logitech. Why can't you do it to the Brio, which is $200?
Yeah.
Like, this is really
So,
nice.
This is a good looking. I would say for $200, it's a good looking webcam. In
And
fact,
it's competitively priced with the Brio too.
so it's $200. Like it looks better than it costs, and which immediately means that it's good value for what you get. I actually think that the picture that comes out of this thing is good enough, has a good enough field of view, that for $200, it almost, compared to other webcams on the market, it's a steal. Right? Now the problem is that $200 is not nothing, right? And it should be the camera has always been, in my mind, the last thing that you upgrade. And so this comes down to a philosophy thing of like, should you recommend to somebody where the last thing you're upgrading is this camera, and to spend $200 on it when you can't upgrade it? It's got no upgradability, right? There's nowhere to go with it. That's it. Now you've got a webcam. And Jason made a good point to me, which was that now, like, you can use this camera for other things, right? If you were to upgrade in the future, it's not like it just goes to waste, right? Like, it is actually still usable, like if you have a 2-camera setup or like whatever. So it doesn't like suddenly stop being a valuable piece of gear. So like the upgradability part is like kind of iffy. If you bought it with the intention to resell it, I can imagine it'd be valuable. But for me, I'm not really sure. Like I don't know if it's worth it not to get like a cam link and a GoPro, because that allows you to buy the cam link and then move on to a better camera in the future, because it simply isn't a mirrorless camera, right? Like, and that's my problem with it. It's just not that good. And it can't be. It's $200 fucking dollars. Like, it's really not
Part of their
an
advertising
expensive.
says you can dial in manually just like a DSLR, and I'm going, you know how many hundreds, if not thousands, of settings a DSLR has that you can fine tune? It's like, okay, well, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
you
okay,
can. So
sure.
even if you can, the problem comes down
It's
to sensor size.
yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
Even with all
you're
that
not letting in the light.
control, yeah.
So
So
I don't know as much about the actual like how it is actually going to look in the end, but at least the stuff that I read like briefly was that people were saying it did pretty well in low light situations,
yeah, it
which
does. Yeah, it's got a pretty big for a web. So like for a webcam, it wipes the floor with the competition.
and so that's what I mean by like,
Yeah.
and I agree with you on like, yeah, camera probably one of the last things you need to worry about upgrading and all that stuff. But I do wonder if you think about it from a like perspective of people looking to get like proper lighting set up and like having the space. There's like a lot more involved for someone who's just barely kind of getting started and like
Right.
scratching the surface of beginning to stream. There's a lot of other costs that get involved, and I wonder if this does well enough that like room lighting would be enough because it does well in low light situations. I wonder if that plus the whole literally just pain of not having to deal with Logitech software because most people just can't figure out
Right.
how to deal with the Logitech software. I wonder if that would be enough of a selling point to just actually beat out a C920 in terms of cost.
So basically the conclusion I came to was that when I recommend to people now, like now that this piece of gear exists, when I recommend people starting out, like I'd say, you've got more than like 50 viewers or whatever, and you're investing in it more seriously, I'm going to recommend that they actually do upgrade their video first and get this camera and then do everything and then like do everything else, like get a better graphics card with NVENC and all that kind of shit. And the reason's actually really simple. Like, this is a camera that will take you a really, really long way.
It'll
Like, you
take you
should
so much. Here,
Yeah.
guys, I've been talking about Sal with this for like over 2 years. It feels like at this point about like the order of things you buy to people. This camera is so good in terms of jump of quality that it changed the
Yes.
order Sal recommends to people because of how much farther that skill cap
Yeah.
or that image quality is now. For Sal to
Yeah.
change his like order of recommendations away from mics to this is kind of big.
Yeah, when you look at, because I think when you look at like, let's say like an A7C or like an A7S3 is like 100% quality,
Right.
right? And a C920 would be like 20% quality. And before it's like, well, that 20% costs you $50, right? And if you want to get like a good mirrorless, you're going to spend at least like $800 between, even if you get a used camera, used lens, and a used cam link, you're still going to rack up a pretty serious sum. It sucks, but that's the way that it is. But this $200 will get you far enough, like maybe to 60%, like that diminishing returns. Like, you should only be spending $1,000 to get yourself to 95%, right? To make that final 35% jump. So the amount of quality gain you get for $200, like I think that it makes the most sense to probably get like a decent mic and then get this right after it to increase the quality of your broadcast the most for your dollar. Like, I think it'll be even better than just like upgrading to NVENC or whatever, or like going from 900p to 1080p. Like, you're literally going to be going from an image that is barely passable in this, like in the climate of Twitch, because like everyone's got their shit together now pretty much, right? With the exception of like M Canning, but I think still, I think still
Like, he
has
sets
like
the
a
meta.
fucking fishbowl in front of his webcam. I don't know if he's figured that out yet, but yeah, like this thing is good. Like, I would tell MK, like if M Canning didn't want to deal with anything, he should buy this fucking webcam because it actually looks good. It looks good, from what I could tell. Like, you dial it in, you set it, and you forget it, and it looks good.
So one of the cool things that most people mess with cameras is all the adjustments that you can do and the dynamic adjustment that this thing does on the fly. It's not perfect. It's not, DSLR actual quality, but way it can adapt from if somebody has a sunlight in their room and it changes, it automatically adapts with everything. For people who are set it and forget it, or I didn't even set it, I plugged it in, I went live, and that was it. Like I didn't open the software. Like for those type of people, this makes a lot of sense.
You know what else is really good about it? You can fucking control the settings on it via Stream Deck.
Yep.
So like, let's say
Again,
you're in Ravi's shoes where you're in a room with like a window, and like basically there are 2 times a day like you have to adjust for. You can literally load 2 profiles onto 2 different Stream Deck buttons and just switch on the fly and make it completely painless, which is sick. Like, I think that they really did a good job, and like, and you know how hard they tried here because they literally didn't put a mic in it. Like, there are no webcams you can buy without a microphone, and this one has none. They put 100% of the money into making it look as good as humanly possible for the $200 price tag.
I appreciate that, not just because webcam mics absolutely fucking suck.
Oh no, but you know what I'm saying, like
yes.
Still having to put the slats in on the, like, because it's more tooling in the process, and you have to put 2 microphones for like some sort of left-right channel, like it's still money sunk into the process.
Of all like if you buy one of their arms, I'm saying that they're making a lot of money. If you buy one of these webcams, they're making way less money, is what I'm saying.
They're
like
probably making way less money.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, this is like my prediction, that I imagine we're gonna have coming out within the next few years, is that I think like we're talking about what the next level upgrade is, right? You have to invest into like this DSLR camera, and you have to get the like a cam link or something like that, and all of this comes together as like an extra cost. My guess is that people are going to create, or like someone's going to go and create something that's just an all-encompassing, like, here is close to or basically DSLR quality camera, but it hooks directly in and it's like goes straight over to.
We were talking about Canon. Was working on, right? This is a whole separate podcast.
I don't think.
But I'm saying, so the reason why I bring this up is I feel like timing wise, if you get something like this and you're just a growing streamer, and you guys are talking about how this will last, I feel like this will last long enough until maybe something like that comes up, and you are going to potentially save the cost of having to buy the extra stuff around the camera, like the cam link and everything.
So the difference here, the problem is like all the current gen cameras don't do it, but the next gen of cameras from Sony and shit will, because they already released the drivers for it. Like the Sony A7C won't do it, but they will do it in the future. And I think it's mainly fueled by the pandemic, because I don't think they realized the market that they could have tapped into. But like mainly the reason that like there won't be an Elgato that does it, and it's the same thing about with like the preamp shit. Like they're not going to be able to source Sony's like technology for cameras, because Sony's going to tell them to fuck right off.
Yeah.
Because they rely on the sensor and they rely on that software, and then like the sensor that's in the A7S III, which is a slightly better mirrorless camera than what I have, is literally in their cinema cameras. So like they're not gonna go fucking give that shit away, like for fun. Like no, what they're gonna do is they're just gonna be able to take a USB-C cable and plug it right into your computer, and you don't need a cam link anymore. Like that's what's gonna happen.
But that's what I mean, right?
I agree with that. I agree with that, but it's not going to be a company. It's going to be the companies that have their own mirrorless cameras already. They're just going to like make it so USB will do it, and that's
Sony and Canon are going to be the two that I predict are just going to
for sure. That. Panasonic as well. They've got the Lumix series, which is highly recommended as well. Like, and you got Blackmagic as well. Like all these major players, like they'll take it more seriously on their next releases.
In that case, actually, like if basically the cost of upgrading to that kind of DSLR camera setup will go down with something like that in that future.
Yeah, no, of course.
At what point would you say that people should not bother with this new Elgato webcam and just hold out for that future?
But the thing is that like, okay, so if you don't have a lot of money, right? Like let's say you're basically paying, like living paycheck to paycheck, like you want that like the quality needs to be there for it actually, there's an amount of time that you'll be streaming with the shit quality, so you have to weigh how how damaging is it to not stream for a year and a half, or to stream for a year and a half? Okay, so I think the best way to phrase it, like, let's say I have a C920 right now. Is it better for me to spend $200 and have like a 65% of the way to an A7S III for like 2 years and then upgrade? Or is it better to have a C920 for the next year and a half and then upgrade? Because I saved that $200 and I could buy my cam link instead. And the answer is probably double. So like, let's say it's from a year and a half to 3 years, right? And
Before
the answer is
used cameras, second gens come around, you can buy one of the older ones
yeah,
that has
like
that built in.
yeah,
Like that's still going to be around. Like I think that is going to hit the market at like a $600 price point of like a decent one, and you're still going from $200 to $600 is what I'm guessing. And it's like, okay, well, you can jump up to something that's like, 85-90% of the way there.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, $200 or $600 in a year and a half, 3 years. That's
The main issue is just that you have you're not just like, it's not just about saving money or wasting money. It's about trying, like, what is your stream going to look like in the amount of time it takes you to save for whatever the thing is, right? Because you could always just like time the markets. You look at Facebook Marketplace, you look at Kijiji, and then you look for like a used camera, because all you need is the camera body. Because really, any good mirrorless camera and any and a good decent lens, right, used, they're gonna do the job. So you could probably get the camera set up for like $500-600, and then you got to get the cam link, and that will run you the extra 200 to $800 or so. So you get the whole package for 800, but you're still stuck until you can save that money with a C920, right? And now that this camera exists, like, I don't know who the fuck in the right mind is gonna have a bad looking stream now, unless you have like 10 viewers. Like, it just doesn't really, unless you're making an amount of money so negligible that, like, no, you're not really competing in the sphere. So right. So
fair.
I think this thing truly makes sense for anyone who's like, I'd say like 50 viewers up, like starting to take it more seriously. I would get a decent mic and I get this, and then every other upgrade after. Truly, like, it's a good piece of gear, and it looks like it's the value, right? It looks like you're actually getting your money's worth, I think, with this one. I don't think you're getting your money's worth with the one that Logitech made, the StreamCam. I don't think you're getting your money's worth with like the C922, but with this thing and with the software combined, it looks like you're getting your money's worth. Okay, stop talking about food, man. I need to eat. Jesus.
Sorry. Joey just finished work and we're like talking about ordering pizza later.
Oh my
Friday
God.
night. Okay, I'll let you
Fuck
go eat.
you, Joe. All right, I need to go now.
Do you know you can add a Stream Deck button that orders a Domino pizza?
Yes.
Yeah, you
That's
can go to
scary.
hell. All right. I think that's it.
I
Right?
think so. Yeah, that's about
Perfect.
it. That's a long ass
That was a
podcast
long
already.
ass podcast.
That might be
Yeah.
our longest. I don't know. We'll see. It feels long anyway. Thank you, Robbie, for joining us. Give us shout outs of wherever you want to do.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can find, ironically, mostly in twitch.tv/UpATreeZelda's chat, shitting
Nice.
on him on a daily basis. But
Perfect.
when I, on the rare occasion, actually do decide to stream and show off all the shit that I work on very hard, I actually put a lot of effort into like my software for my massive backgrounds and all this other kind of shit.
12 times a year.
Yeah, exactly. Then you
Just
can
show
find
that
that 12 times roughly 12 times a year for about an hour per stream over on twitch.tv/FearDragon64, and just FearDragon64 for everything. You'll probably have a better chance of finding me on like ESL_SC2, where none of it
Right.
actually matters at all. So, yeah.
Other than that, I think the only plug I got is we're on Podbean and Spotify and a whole bunch of other platforms now, and you can find us
Oh, sick.
at almostessentialpodcast.podbean.com. I'll make something that's very short and easy to find links for Spotify and all that stuff everywhere else. But yeah, subscribe to
Get
the
a
YouTube.
link free.
Yeah,
Nice.
we'll do one of those. Subscribe to the YouTube so we can co-stream or live stream on YouTube once we reach 100 subscribers at the same time we do Twitch at some point in the future. But yeah, that's about it.
Sick.
Thank you very much for watching, everybody.
All
See you next week.